Today, we will talk about XDC and the advantages of electronic records in the trade finance industry that, again, is worth between about 30 trillion each year on the low end and about 115 trillion a year on the high end. And the thing about XDC is that it is concentrating on this trade finance industry. It has a lot of partnerships and involvement in this very valuable part of the world economy. You have it tied into trade tech, TFDI, the ITFA, Trade Finance Global, Nostra Trade Fusion, Trade Finex. It's heavily involved with the trade finance industry, and in particular, the model law on electronic transferable records, which comes out of the UN, which I will explain a bit more. But tonight, I want to talk about the electronic trade document bill, which is out of the UK Parliament, and it has been passed, or it is in the final parts of it right now. I believe that it has already been passed. So, what is this? It is a bill to make a provision about electronic trade documents and for connected purposes. And what does that mean exactly? So it is encouraging parties to adopt new technologies, which is in particular, we're talking about XDC and the XDC network and partners overall, to reduce practical difficulties with hard copy documents, to improve trade, shipping, and finance, and to generate growth. It permits electronic trade documents to be possessed in the same way as hard copy documents, provided they are held on a reliable system. Blockchain and a distributed ledger technology are reliable systems, and that has already been put into effect with XDC. They have created the first trade finance NFTs, and they are working their way into adoption. So I found this thread from X's in my future.patience, which I can only imagine is primarily XRP, XLM, and XDC. So, one, it is about efficiency, and electronic trade documents can significantly speed up the trade process by reducing paperwork and the manual handling of actual hard copies, which creates faster customs clearance and shipping. If anyone's ever tried Amazon FBA, which I have, and I got out of it as quick as I could, this part of it is a pain. It is the largest hassle in the entire part of the Amazon FBA process, and it's just a tiny glimpse into the trade finance industry overall. Two is cost reduction. The use of electronic documents can lead to cost savings in printing, postage, and just actually filing them. And that is actually estimated to save billions for the UK economy over the next 10 years or so. Three, it enhances security. Electronic trade documents can be encrypted and authenticated, reducing the risk of fraud and unauthorized alterations. That is either performed on a smart contract or the actual documents are tokenized as NFTs, for example. Accessibility. Electronic trade documents can be accessed remotely, which makes it easier for all parties involved in trade transactions, even if they are in different countries. 5, environmental impact, which I'm not huge into that, but it does play a role in today's economy and society at large. Going digital can reduce paper and its associated environmental impact. How does XDC actually play a role in this? Well, as far as digital authentication and verification go, XDC's hybrid blockchain technology, which essentially just means a combination of public and private chains, can be leveraged to provide secure and tamper-proof digital authentication for electronic trade documents. By keeping document hashes and metadata on chain, participants can verify the authenticity and integrity of trade documents easily, which sounds a lot like an NFT, which XDC has already performed. I believe that was done with TradeTech. Smart contracts for trade execution. Here's where it gets interesting. XDC supports smart contracts, which are self-executing contracts with predefined conditions. These contracts can automate various aspects of trade, including payment processing, compliance checks, and document verification, reducing the need for manual intervention and paperwork. Supply chain traceability. XDC can facilitate end-to-end traceability in supply chains by recording key events and document transfers on chain. This transparency ensures that all people have real-time visibility into the movement of goods and trade documents. Cross-border transactions, which we talk about with XDC a lot, as well as XLM and XRP. In fact, XDC is involved in a number of cross-border CBDC projects as well. XDC's hybrid chain is designed to facilitate cross-border transactions more efficiently. By using XDC as the underlying settlement layer, international trade transactions can be conducted faster and at lower costs compared to traditional banking systems. Imagine that. Decentralized trade finance. Here's where it gets really interesting, and it explains how XDC is so well positioned with their network into the trade finance industry. The smart contracts and cross-border capabilities can support decentralized trade finance solutions, which allows businesses to access financing options easier as trade-related information and transactions are recorded transparently on chain. Secure data sharing. XDC's private chain aspect allows for controlled information sharing between authorized parties. Trade documents can be shared securely among relevant people while protecting sensitive information. Immutable records. Once trade documents are recorded on the XDC chain, they become immutable, meaning they cannot be altered or deleted, which provides a reliable and auditable history of trade transactions and document transfers. That part right here about auditable is really big for large enterprise and financial institution adoption. If these guys can't see where everything is and where everything has been, then they're not really interested in it, because they not only have to operate in a way that is reliable on their end, but they have to be able to trace where things came from and where things went in case there is any kind of a financial dispute. So, as far as some fun facts go, the International Chamber of Commerce has estimated that digitalizing trade documents could generate around 25 billion pounds in new economic growth by 2024 and free up 224 billion pounds in efficiency savings. The trade industry consumes 28.5 billion paper documents a year. In other terms, that saves 2,850,000 trees per year. And I want to compare the Electronic Trade Documents Act to the UN Model Law on Electronic Transferable Records, which was originally introduced in 2017. The UK one is essentially just a country specific adoption of that. So it aims to enable the legal use of electronic transferable records domestically and across borders for the international trade finance industry. Why is it important? The availability of these trade documents in electronic form may be greatly beneficial for facilitating electronic commerce by, for example, improving speed and security of transmission, permitting the reuse of information, and automating certain transactions through smart contracts. Key provisions. An electronic transferable record is functionally equivalent to a transferable hard copy document or instrument if that contains the information required to be contained in a transferable document or instrument. Essentially, if the electronic one is a functional equivalent to a hard copy, it's all good. Control is a fundamental notion of the model law since it represents the functional equivalent of possession of a transferable document or instrument. That just has to establish exclusive control of the electronic transferable record by a person, which can be done by something like an NFT, for example, and identify that person as the person in control. That can be done by the transfer of an NFT from one wallet to another. So it is essentially just saying that the UK plans to comply with this MLETR, and there are a lot of others involved in this as well. It has a lot of adoption in the G7 and emerging markets. So as far as the G7 goes, here in the US, it is already in place. However, there are some certain parts of it, like bills of lading, that still require further application. That is the part that XDC has already actually done. They have accomplished that. So now it is just about having Congress and the government make that an actual thing. We're talking about Germany here, which is Europe's largest economy at this point in time, I think. Japan as well. That is interesting because it is in it is one of the Asian Pacific countries that has a lot of international trade finance industry involvement. We have France, who is anticipated to release a white paper, which, okay, you know. But as far as emerging markets go, we've got Papua New Guinea, Belize, Kiribati, Bahrain, Paraguay, and then you have the UAE and Singapore that have already adopted MLETR, which the UAE in particular is really interesting because that is a very valuable economy. The same with Singapore. Also, we have India that has expressed preliminary interest in MLETR adoption. China, in collaboration with the Asian Development Bank, shows a interest in the MLETR as well. So you've got China, you've got UAE, Singapore, the US as well, and obviously the UK. So, what has all of this done for XDC price? Well, it hadn't actually done much at all. We're still very, very early, and XDC is one of those assets that does not seem to have very positive price action, even though it is it is implementing improvements in a very valuable industry. When that will actually help the price action of XDC, I don't know. But XDC is positioned to be one of a number of very well performing assets in the upcoming bull run that we are probably beginning to experience right now, that will go into 2024 and 2025 once things probably pull back at some point in 2024 some, or we might just go right from about 6 months after the halving into 2025 if we actually follow the historical Bitcoin halving trend, which I don't really quote unquote believe in that a whole lot. So as of right now on the 1 day chart, over the last almost 3 months now, we did have that big peak when we got judicial clarity on XRP not being a security. It pumped all of the way up. I think I saw as high as like almost 10 cents, and we're back down to about 5 now. But even if we are just talking about this price action, if we repeat what a lot of other coins have, where they have gone up to the 4.236 on the fib, that is about a 14.5 cent XDC. But if we look back on the larger time scale, that 4.236 mark is up around 61 cents, which is only a 12x from where we are now. I personally think XDC can do much more than that once we get true regulatory clarity and financial institution and enterprise adoption after that, which the utility bull run will not happen until that point in time, and it looks like 2024, 2025. As far as the actual price action goes, on the 1 day chart, our RSI has tanked over the last week or so, but we are beginning to even out and possibly pull back up. Our MACD has gone way down as well, and that doesn't really seem to show a lot of signs of actually beginning to pull back positive. However, on the 1 week chart, the RSI and MACD have both hit a local low on about the end of October, and they are both increasing at a pretty good pace right now. So that same pattern happened back in July. In fact, it was at about that same RSI. where we went up to about 10 cents or so. I thought I saw as high as about 12 on an exchange, but I can't remember now off of the top of my head. But in short, I have a fair amount of XRP or XDC. I have more XRP. But I am really interested in the technology and the actual real world applications that XDC has in the trade finance industry.